The anchor's name was David Reyes. Travis knew this because Elena turned the volume up high enough that the man's voice filled the whole store, bouncing off the display cases and the wall of used games and the cardboard standees that GameWorld ordered every quarter, whether anyone wanted them or not. David Reyes sounded like a man who had been trained for 30 years to deliver bad news calmly, and was now discovering what bad news actually meant. Worldwide reports continuing to come in. At this hour, emergency services in 47 countries are reporting simultaneous mass disappearances. The events appear to have occurred within a single window of approximately 90 seconds, beginning at 6:41 a.m. Central Time. Authorities are asking the public to remain calm and to avoid. 90 seconds, Elena said. Yeah. Everything happened in 90 seconds. That's what he said. She reached over and turned the volume down. Not off, just down. So the voice was still there but quiet, like something you hear from the next room and can't quite make out. Travis understood why. It was easier to think when it wasn't filling everything. "Do you have family?" he asked. Elena looked at him like it was a strange question. Then she nodded. "My dad. He lives in Laredo. I've been trying to call him, but the networks I can't get through." "Same. My sister's in Houston." "You have a sister?" "Half-sister. We're not close." He paused. "She's not. She wasn't religious. She probably didn't." He stopped himself. He didn't know how to finish the sentence. He didn't know which ending was the right one to hope for. Elena watched him struggle with it. She didn't help him out. "My dad went to church," she said finally. "Every Sunday. He dragged me until I was 16, and then I stopped going, and he never made a big deal out of it." She looked at her phone, at the blank screen. "He lit candles at St. Anthony's for my mom when she was sick. He believed. He actually believed." Travis didn't say anything. "So," her voice was flat, matter of fact, "he's probably gone." The radio murmured something about transportation, air traffic, the number of planes that had lost their pilots mid-flight. Travis heard the word hundreds and looked away from the speaker. "We should lock the store," he said. "Why?" "Because when people figure out what's happening, they're going to panic. And when they panic, they're going to want things. Food, supplies. We don't have food, but we have." He gestured at the cases. "Electronics, chargers, power banks in the accessories rack. People are going to need those." Elena stared at him. "You want to lock up and keep the store's stuff safe." "I want to not get robbed." "Travis." She said his name like she was testing it. "Do you hear yourself? 1/3 of the people on this planet just disappeared. Your mom is gone. My dad is probably gone. And you're thinking about whether someone's going to steal a PlayStation?" He didn't answer right away. Because she was right, and he knew she was right. And the reason he was thinking about the store was because thinking about the store was the only thing keeping him from sitting down on the floor and not getting up. "Yes," he said. "That's exactly what I'm doing." Something shifted in her face. Not softness, more like recognition. "Okay," she said. "Lock the door." He locked the door and flipped the sign to closed, and they sat behind the counter. Elena on the stool she always used. Travis on the floor with his back against the cabinets because he didn't trust his legs right now. The radio kept going. New voices replacing David Reyes. A woman from somewhere in Europe. A man speaking Spanish, who Elena translated in short sentences. Roads blocked. Military deployed. Hospitals overwhelmed with people who'd been in accidents because their drivers had vanished. "The cars," Travis said. "What about them? If someone was driving and they got raptured." "They already said that. Hundreds of accidents on every major highway. They're telling people to stay home." He thought about the drive he'd just taken, the 12 minutes he'd said he didn't remember. He remembered now, suddenly, in pieces. A truck on Route 9, sitting in the middle of the lane with its hazards on. and no one inside. A traffic light cycling through green, yellow, red, with no one to stop for it. He'd driven around the truck and kept going like it was a normal thing. His brain had refused to process it. "I drove past a truck," he said. "On the way here. Empty. Just sitting there." Elena nodded slowly. "I saw a woman standing in the Dollar General parking lot when I was coming in. Just standing there. She had a baby stroller. I thought she was on her phone." She stopped. The stroller wasn't empty. The word landed between them. Travis pressed his palms flat against his thighs. He breathed in. He breathed out. He thought about the baby in the stroller, and then he stopped thinking about it, because there was nothing to do with that thought. There was no direction you could take it that didn't end somewhere you couldn't come back from. "The woman," he said. "Was she okay?" "She was screaming." Elena said it without emotion. "I was late for my shift. I kept driving." Silence. "I would have done the same thing," Travis said. "I know." The radio found a new voice. A pastor somewhere. A man with a deep Carolina accent who'd gotten himself on air somehow. He was saying the word rapture, saying it over and over, and the anchor kept interrupting him, and the pastor kept coming back to it. Travis listened. He'd heard the word his whole life. His mother used it the way other people used words like retirement or vacation, like something coming that you could plan for. He'd always filed it with the other things he half believed and never thought about. "Travis," Elena said. "Yeah. Your mom, her Bible. Did she talk about this? About it actually happening?" He thought about all the conversations he'd walked away from, the Sunday dinners, where she'd talked about the news and prophecy, and he'd checked his phone under the table, the paperback books on her nightstand with the worn spines, the comments she'd made that he'd let go in one ear and out the other. "She talked," he said. "I didn't listen." Elena was quiet for a moment. "My dad sent me a voicemail 3 weeks ago. Said he'd been reading Revelation and he wanted to talk when I had time." She pulled out her phone and looked at it. "I never called him back." Travis closed his eyes. The pastor on the radio was crying now. He was saying that this was not the end. He was saying that this was the beginning of something, and that the people left behind were not forgotten. He was saying that there was still time. Travis didn't know if he believed that or not. He didn't know what he believed about almost anything right now. But he kept his eyes closed, and he listened, because the alternative was opening them and looking at the store around him, and the locked door, and the parking lot with its 2 cars, and thinking about the fact that his mother's Corolla was still sitting in the apartment lot with nowhere to go. The pastor said, "The ones who stayed are not here by accident." Travis opened his eyes. Elena was looking at him. "Did you hear that?" he asked. "I heard it." "Do you believe it?" She thought about it for a long time. Long enough that the radio moved on to something else. A woman reading emergency shelter locations. A list of addresses in a calm, helpful voice, like she was narrating a grocery app. "I don't know," Elena said. "But I think I need to."